the Board of Selectmen meeting for March 27th, 2023 to order at 6:33. Items on the agenda, Pledge of Allegiance, visitors' comments, old business, Church Street properties, recommendation for Planning Board solar bylaw review changes, other old business, Sewer Commission meeting, A, sewer abatement, B, superintendent report, C, sewer project pre-construction meeting discussion, 5, new business, personnel policy approval for adoption, Mayflower software for assessor, other new business, appointing John Petrag, hopefully I said that correctly, to Historical Society term 2025, discussion and or vote relative to ARPA funding, committee reports, miscellaneous correspondence, KP Law price increase, town administrator report, signatures and approvals, Joseph J. Orzelak Memorial Day ceremonies contract, selectmen roundtable, and adjournment. Hopefully I hit everything, Nicole, that was on the agenda.
Yes, I'm sorry, there is one correction. It's not the Historical Society, but it's the Historical Commission.
Okay.
For John Pagrialia.
Okay. John on the meeting, John. We're doing our best with the name. Okay. So if you wouldn't mind joining me with the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is behind Nicole. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Any comments from visitors about anything that is not on the agenda this evening? No, Nicole, I can't see if anybody has hands up.
Nobody has a hand.
Okay. So we'll move on then to old business. Church Street properties. Nicole, do we have an update on those?
No, Bill Cantel, our building inspector, was going to go out last week. He comes in on Tuesday mornings, so I'm hoping to get an update from him tomorrow on what he thinks. The Capital Committee also met today, and Eric Fleming was going to, well, we had some questions as to ownership or responsibility, as we all have been talking. So it's still on the forefront, but I don't have an update yet.
Okay. Can you remind me to bring up the Capital Committee when we get to the Selectmen's Roundtable? In case I forget, I'll make a note also. Okay. Anything else on the Church Street property? So you'll continue to keep this on the agenda and give us an update? Okay.
Yes.
Letter B, recommendation, Planning Board solar bylaw review changes. Is anyone going to speak to this from the Planning Board tonight, Nicole, or?
No, this was, you guys were going to review it and recommend any changes if you had any from the last meeting. It was presented to you, I think, the meeting before, and so just if you had any updates or recommendations or changes. I went through the entire thing and I didn't see anything, so I don't know about you guys.
Because then they'll have public hearings about it.
I didn't have anything either. Rob, did you have any suggestions or changes for the solar bylaw?
No, I think it was all right. But...
Okay. So, Nicole, can you report back to the planning that we did any changes or suggestions?
Yes.
Okay. Is it so? Just for purposes of following the process, is the next step that they'll have their public hearings now that we've reviewed it and are I guess in a agreement with moving it forward?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. They start their public hearing process.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Anything under other old business? I want to pull up my second. Bear with me. nothing is cooperating. Okay. Well, I'll reach out to, if I can get it to cooperate by the time we move through, I will bring it up under Selectmen's Roundtable. But I had a few notes on some things, but I can't load them. So, as is customary, what we started doing is putting sewer commission, sewer commission business on the wing of the Selectmen. So, under our sewer commission meeting, sewer abatements, do we have any to address, Nicole?
So in your packet, there is a letter from Mr. Sabaj. He didn't have the appropriate paperwork, so it was rejected. The application was rejected for the abatement. So the second page is the usage history from, this is what he submitted. He didn't submit the 12 months, like the only one that was approved did submit all 12 months, but it shows the energy usage. And then Angie hand wrote in, you know, the usage from the ones that you approved. So January was 9, February was 10, March was 9, April was 10, March was 10, June, April, May, June was 8. So as you can see, the use is between 10 and 0 on the one that you approved. And then the kilowatts on the history on this one were between 187, with the lowest being 51, I believe. So the usage, you know, wasn't consistent with not being, with it being vacant. So that was just a little comparison for you to make your decision. Oh, you know what's not in here though? The full application.
Right.
Is this something that we can,
We can do next month's. We're still in the fiscal year, and I'll give you everything next month.
so we have a meeting coming up on April 3rd, and then we have a meeting on April 10th. Are we thinking we would address this on April 10th or April 3rd?
So typically it's the second meeting of the month that is the sewer meeting, right? So we keep them kind of in line. I was thinking of the April 24th, but hopefully we have all the information for Monday the 3rd, and since that would be a sewer meeting, if I can get it to you by then, because we do have the application, it just wasn't included in this packet.
Okay. All right. So if you could put it on the agenda for April 3rd,
Sure.
that would be great.
The second one is the second application you have in your packet. Excuse me. Was submitted and subsequently denied because they also did not provide any backup information as required in the application process on page 2. But the applicant said they've never had to do that before, and they don't think that they should have to do it now, and still want their abatement, and the amount paid is on there. I don't have. Can we put this on the 3rd too? I'm sorry, I'll be a little more detailed.
It's okay because I can't access any of my meeting materials right now.
So if you don't mind, just allowing me to give it to you for the 3rd.
That would be great. Nicole and Kelly, and you're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, I think that if people need to provide 12 months worth of bills, then they need to provide 12 months of bills. But we can address it next Monday.
Yeah, and if that's the protocol, I mean, that's the protocol. I think you said he's not had to do it before. Is that what I'm hearing?
What the applicant said. I haven't had to do this before, was very adamant, and so it's not my decision. You know, I just thought I'd bring it in front of you again. We did reiterate that they are required to submit everything that's on the application, and, you know, without it being submitted, it has to be denied. So we did relay that information, and then the applicant was adamant that we bring it in front of the sewer commission again.
Well,
I believe
think,
last year.
I'm sorry, Rob, go ahead.
I believe that we required that last year. I mean, Unless they didn't apply last year. Because we were pretty adamant about that last year, as you are this year.
Exactly. Several were denied because they didn't provide the required information. But
I think if
sorry.
I'm sorry, if it's part of our procedure and that's part of what is included in the package for us to review abatement, then I think that it'll continue to be denied unless it's very clear in the application on what's required. So I think just a reiteration, presumably they have the detail, what's required for the application process. So it certainly can be applied. I have all the information.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'll have more detail next week.
Okay. Anything else under the sewer abatements?
No.
Is Scott joining us for the superintendent's report?
He's on.
Yes.
I can't see. My screen is very tiny on my phone, so I cannot see everybody. Hi, Scott.
Good evening. Yes, I'm here.
Did you want to go through your superintendent's report?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we still have a lot of alarms at the Wheelwright pump station that we're continuing to be frustrated by. Hopefully the warmer weather will put a stop to them like it usually does. We did change a motor out on one of our aeration tank mixers in Gilbertville. That was all done in-house. We had a actual gearbox rebuilt by EERS, Mike Dugan. And once again, he's charging us only for parts, no labor, no delivery, no other charges. So if you see him out and about, be sure to tell him thank you. We did have a pre-construction meeting at the old townhouse on the 22nd. And we are preparing for chlorine season, which starts April 1st. And working to get the force main pumping as good as we can. Flows have been dropping slowly, so we've been doing what we can to try to get those rates up. Pretty much all I have.
Thank you. So I'm looking at your report. Under the proposals, Nicole, are we considering this for Scott's request for or recommendation that we should purchase a compact tractor with loader, mower, and brush hog? Are we considering that in our budgeting process?
No, not yet. I don't know. Scott, did you put it in your budget?
I did put it in my budget, but last time we brought it up, which was a month ago, you had said you were going to look at getting ARPA funding for that.
Okay. So what I was thinking to alleviate, I'm not sure about the revolving fund with ARPA. I was thinking about requesting leases and things like that to alleviate FY24's budget for the town side. I'm not sure about ARPA and enterprise fund. So I don't have any of that information for you right now.
Can we put that on our probably not our April 3rd meeting because we're a little heavy on our April 3rd meeting now, but can we put this on our April 10th meeting to just make sure that this falls aside and we talk about it during the budgeting process, whether it's out of enterprise retained earnings or it's out of ARPA that's just kind of kept up there somewhere.
And if it's out of if it comes out of retained earnings, I believe it has to be its own article on the town warrant, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Anything out of retained earnings.
Yeah.
So we'll take a look and see. So options appear to be their sewer enterprise earnings or ARPA funding, and we'll find out if the ARPA funding is a possibility. Thank you, Scott. Any questions for Scott?
I'm good. I'm just, I'm curious, Scott, how many times that Mike Dugan has done that for you guys.
He's helped us out quite a few times, both in Wheelwright and in Gilbertville, changing out pumps, changing out motors, especially changing out the gearboxes for the aeration tank mixers in Gilbertville. That's a heavy, complicated job, and he's never charged us anything for it. Now that he's actually now that he's actually rebuilt the gearbox, he is going to charge us for parts, of course. But that's it.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
Can we make sure? So, Nicole, can we put this on our radar, and also just to make sure that we do something for Mike relative to this? I'll touch base with you, but can you just keep it on my radar, please? Bill Cole just put something in the chat. Meeting on day, Bill. Historically, we've had a meeting on election day. It's okay to have a meeting on election day. That will be my last meeting, and whoever is elected will pick up at that point after.
And just as an aside, Julie, I did shut off the chat. If, just to be consistent with our Robert's Rules of Order, if somebody wants to say something, we should have them raising their hand. Sorry, I should have shut it off in the beginning.
That's okay. So if you do, we certainly want to hear what you have to say. If you have questions, or please raise them, Nicole. I unfortunately can't see you because I'm doing the meeting from my phone, but please raise your hand, and Nicole will let me know so we can recognize you. Thank you, Scott. Unless we have any more questions or information that we need from Scott, we can release Scott. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Well, there's a pre-construction meeting discussion. He may want to stay on for that.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm juggling the agenda here, so thanks for keeping me on track. So the next item is the pre-construction meeting discussion. I'm not sure. Do you want to talk?
Yeah, I can let you know. It's in my report too, but we can just go over it now. It was Wednesday, March 22nd with DPC, Ricciardi, USDA, Scott, Marty, and me. Groundbreaking was supposed to happen in September, but DPC was requesting that Ricciardi do some boring testing soon to understand what type of rock and ledge they're looking at. Ricciardi stated that he can get some machinery to the location and perform some testing in May. There was discussion over a lead time for generator. Its ship date is approximately April of 2024. They're looking into options such as rental, as the completion needs to be done. The entire project needs to be done by June of 2024, so we don't want to hold that up. The building will arrive prefabricated, and we'll have renderings of the exterior from the vendor soon. I actually have a meeting with the vendor and DPC tomorrow morning at 9, just a virtual meeting to go over some, what it should look like, and they understand that it should have the look of a sugar shack, like it belongs there. And then there was discussion over the legal budget, and it's running really high. I told USDA that it was really due to the location change and all of the extra legal work that needed to be done, and hopefully that it should just be status quo going forward, where they just do sort of the typical legal research deeds or whatever to have you for the rest of the project. Joe said he was going to send me an email hoping that KP Law would just agree to not really raise. The whole thing is that it's running high. The legal budget is running high because of all the extra stuff that we did, over the past year, and that we don't forecast that same, speed of spending going forward. So hopefully KP Law will just agree. The underwriting wasn't written to include this much legal. USDA stated that they don't necessarily, they'll pay it potentially, but if they continue to see this growth like that, then the owner, which they call us, will have to start coming up with some of that legal funding. So that was the meeting for that. I have, the rest of my USDA in my report, but that was the meeting that we had. It went really well. Everybody, sort of met, and they all work together. So USDA has worked with Ricciardi before. I don't think DPC and Ricciardi have worked together before, but they're all familiar with the process and how much more stringent USDA is now than they have been over the past, 2 decades. They were a lot less strict in spending than they are now. But now these underwriters and loan officers really look basically to the penny. So it was a good meeting overall. I think we're moving forward, and the project is moving forward. It was nice to meet them all. I met Steve from USDA, so it was a nice meeting.
Kelly or Rob, any questions from the pre-meeting? Or Scott, is there anything you want to add?
He left.
Okay.
I can still see him. He's still here.
No, I'm still here, but Nicole covered it very well.
Oh, sorry.
I'm good.
Rob?
I'm good.
Okay. Great, thank you. Under new business, we have the personnel policy approval for adoption. So I'll give you a little primer. I'll give our audience a little primer for this. I think we've been working on this for the committee working on this for over 2 years, if I'm
2 years.
correct. And it is basically a complete overhaul of the personnel policy to make sure it's appropriate with current laws and what we're actually doing and what we want to do for the town employees. Kelly did so just to give you a little history, this project started when Faye was still working for the town, and Faye created a document that we, which was a blend of some of existing policies and maybe some recommended policies that we implement now. And what it was a document that was very badly formatted, and not because of any issue with Faye, but it was just sort of putting documents together, and format-wise, it was a mess. Kelly, so we met over 2 years, the personnel committee, and at the end came up with a good draft, and Kelly retyped the entire thing. Thank you, Kelly. And Nicole has sort of joined us at the end of the process, but we've sort of gone through, and she's gone through with us and made some meaningful suggestions. And so I believe there are a few formatting things that still need a little bit of correction. I'm not sure if I saw your comments earlier. So are we prepared to actually adopt the personnel policy tonight? Do you think we're good in format, or should we delay this till the 10th?
The last email that came through with revisions addressed my comments earlier in the day. So I haven't picked up on anything else, and there was just a couple of numbering, formatting things. I don't know if anyone else has had a chance to look through it.
I think we probably should try to move it forward, and I mean, if we do find some more, we'll amend it as we go. It's a living document,
right? And I think the foundation of it, everything that's in it, is good at this point. Like Rob said, maybe we find a couple of minor. I'm totally drawing a blank for formatting issues, but I don't think that's a reason to not vote it through. We've spent a lot of time doing it.
And so what we talked about is once this approval, once the personnel policy has been approved by the board, that Nicole will make sure that there's some type of kickoff meeting to make sure that all the employees have the new policy and understand what's in the policy, because there are some good benefits for town employees. Things that were in the old policy, but an example is longevity, were in the old policy but never really enforced, or
Mistaken, yeah.
employees weren't made aware of it. So once we approve this, if that happens tonight, Nicole, you're prepared to have sort of a kickoff meeting with all of the department heads and interested people to go through the personnel policy and sort of explain what the what should be happening from a department standpoint and all of the things that we should be tracking.
Yes, Tuesday we have our department head meeting where I will be distributing copies to all of the department heads, hopefully for all of the employees, because I would really like to see the acknowledgement form signed and sent back to put in everybody's what is it, personnel file. So
Yeah, that should be.
so
that should
Tuesday I
definitely
plan
be
on
done.
doing that. And, I can explain some of the changes. I don't plan on going through it all. They can sort of go through it, and then once they do and understand it all, they can acknowledge it. I think the biggest thing that changed is retiree health insurance. The classification plan is in there now, the updated classification plan, because we just updated it last year. It hadn't been updated since 2014. And the longevity is back. But I think other than that, it's standard policy that's been in existence already.
Robert Kelly, any other comments on the personnel policy?
Would you like a motion?
I would love a motion.
I will make a motion to accept and adopt the personnel policy that is dated March of 2023, with the understanding that any financial impacts do not take effect until the new fiscal year, July 1 of 2023.
Second that.
Okay, so I'm very excited that we're able to finally move this forward after 2 years.
I'm getting a little excited.
I know, it's nice to see a positive thing move forward. So any other discussion on the personnel policy? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Kelly,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
and Julie is a yes. So motion carried. We have a new adopted personnel policy effective March 27th of 2023. Nicole, can you just make sure the document reflects that it was approved by the board on March 27th?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the Mayflower software for assessor. This is something that we routinely do for the state recertification. Any questions on this?
I'm good.
Built into the budget. Jen does a really good job of building all of this into her budget.
I'll make a motion if Rob's all set.
All set.
I would make a motion to accept the Mayflower evaluation quote for FY 2024 state recertification, and I believe the amount is $13,500.
Second that.
So it was moved and seconded. Any other discussion on motion? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. Kelly,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
and Julie is a yes, so the motion carries. Thank you. Anything else under other new business other than the appointments? Okay, so so Nicole, for the historical commission, have they forward to approve the recommendation to approve John to the commission?
Yes, much like the senior center, it's in person or verbal. So Emily Bancroft called me and said that they met and that they would like to recommend him to be appointed to the historical commission.
And it looks like this is a 2-year term ending in June of 2025. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is the last vacancy for that commission.
Kelly or Rob, any questions on that?
No.
So in a motion?
I would make a motion to appoint John Petraglia to the Historical Commission for a term ending June 30th, 2025. I hope I pronounced that right.
I second that.
Okay, so we have a motion that's been seconded. Any other discussion on the appointment? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. Kelly?
Yes.
Rob?
Rob, you're muted.
Rob?
Sorry, yes.
And Julie's a yes, so the appointment carries. Nicole, can you just let John know that he should go in front of Ryan to be sworn in?
Yes, we'll write a letter.
Thank you.
Bill Cole has his hand up, Julie.
Yep.
Bill?
Yes, thank you. I just thought I'd mention that John Petralia with a soft G and Ginger are the folks that moved in on the brick house right on Gilbertville Road.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I know who they are. I'm just not sure how to pronounce their name.
Soft G.
Good to know. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks for just, sort of someone who gets mail that says Julie Oink or Julie Quack or Julie Quack. I appreciate someone who assists us with pronunciation. So, sorry, John, if we butchered your name a little bit. Anything else under new business? Okay. Nicole, do we have anything under the discussion intervote relative to ARPA funding?
We do.
I
In
didn't
your
see-
packet. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
In your packet, you have first of all a quote from Liftoff that's changing us to .gov. Again, we were recommended to do this for safety. It's much safer for municipalities to be protected by cyber attacks as .gov than .com. And to do this for the licenses, it's $8,460 and $3,500 one-time fee. So I'm hoping, to pay for it this year, and we'll be able to put it in next year's budget to be able to budget for it annually in our IT budget. But we don't have it for right now. So if we could, pay for it out of ARPA right now, and then we can budget for it going forward.
So annually, it's $8,400.
Yeah, we paid like $4,000 to a company called Net Hosters, and so that was for the townofhardwick.com. So it's more expensive for the .gov as everything else.
Ow. Do you think that we're going to be able to budget this annually with what we're looking at right now for a budget?
Yeah, the budget is very, very tight. We don't have to. We can save.com. That is an option. It is very unfortunate that we can't even absorb $4,000 extra in our budget. I mean, I'm looking at another one for the fire emergency that we had that was under $4,000 that we are. It's just so unfortunate that we can't even pad a little bit of our budget to be able to pay $4,000 for a fire emergency. I hope nothing like this happens after ARPA funding runs out, or we're able to possibly, have some better revenue to be able to pay for these things. Right now, over the past few years, we've been very lucky that we have this federal funding.
Is this
Oh, go ahead. Jill. Sorry.
timing perspective, Nicole? Is this something that we can take a look at? What's the timing on this? What is the timing on when this conversion should happen, or is this something that needs to happen ASAP, or is this something that we can?
Well, the net hoster bill is past due. So I guess we have to just hurry up and pay that bill. We might have to, we can just, I'm sure they'll wait till the next warrant. But, so there's that, and we can stay, our emails can stay.com. Our website is already.gov.
So this
But
is
we
just to
have to-
convert the emails.
Sorry?
This is just to the conversion for email.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be hosting our emails.
I'm wondering if we should hold off until we really see what our budget is going to be.
Absolutely
Well-
can. I asked him that. I said, I don't $8,400 a year for a small budget, for the town side budget, not the school side budget, but it might be too much. And he said, you can stay.com. Just let me know. It's just, again, recommended by our insurance companies, recommended by the federal government. So that's why I bring it to you. But we can absolutely stay.com. Just a little more vulnerable. But I will say I email people constantly, constantly reminding them to look at the sender of their email, making sure that it looks legitimate. If not, they'll forward it to our IT. So I do try to remind people, sometimes it looks absolutely legitimate, and then you look at the sender and it's not anywhere near legitimate. So
it looks like, Nicole, when you look at this, it looks like it's actually licensing for Office 365. Is that what this is?
hold on, let's see.
Because if you look under the quote for $8,460, it's Office 365 Plan G3, Plan G1, and Exchange.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's all of it. It's email plus all of our Office. Yeah. Why don't I get some more? Why don't I see? Maybe we don't go with 365. And we could just go with Exchange or something. I don't know if it's a whole bundle, because that's what we have now.
So, so I believe Marcus had Hayden had asked to be part of like the technology thing. I think he's like, I don't know, and I don't want to speak, but maybe somebody who has some technology experience. Do you think we could reach out and just have them?
Yeah, sorry. Hey, Julie, this is Carol Ozinski, Marcus's wife. I actually just messaged him about that, and I just kind of give him the heads up that we were talking about it because he's not able to make the call, but I'll let him know that was brought up and see if there's any kind of workaround, because he did work with a couple of town governments in the past. So
maybe just I thank you, Kara. I do know he has that experience, and maybe just I don't know, just maybe pick his brain, Nicole, and see if there's a way, understanding that the .gov is a good way for us to go to make sure we're secure, but and presumably, Liftoff is giving us what we need to have, but it maybe just like a check, and I guess he could sort of make sure that
I can always ask Paul from CM Geeks too for some more information on it.
Okay, that'd be great. But if we could tap into Marcus as well, I know he's been willing to help in the past, so maybe to float it to him and see what his thoughts are. That'd be great. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Kara. So let's defer this perhaps to our April 3rd meeting or our April 10th meeting if we can, and then if we need to push it forward, we can at that point.
next- sorry.
Sorry. No, go ahead, Nicole.
The next invoices are for the fire emergency that we had talked about, of fire line started to leak or went, whatever. I don't want to say leak. I don't know what leak means, but it started to go into the street, and it was just going everywhere. So they had to do an emergency fix, and the total comes to $3,859.31.
Oh,
I see the 1560. Is
yeah,
there
me
something?
too. I don't see anything else either. For
So there's
latest.
Jason Garrett. Yeah, there's the EJP. There's 2 invoices from them.
We don't have those.
We just have the statement from Jason Garolitis.
I have it. No, you don't. So I can send you these 2 invoices, but they are from Everett Prescott. Is somebody just talking? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just make sure everyone's muted, please, Nicole.
Can everybody make sure they're muted?
They are now. Yes,
Okay.
they're muted.
I can forward you these. I'll forward you these invoices that should have been in your packet. There are 2 from EJP. One is for $256.40, and the other one is for $2,042.91. And then with Jason Garolitis contracting for 1560, the total comes to $3859.31. Scan these to you right after the meeting.
Yeah.
Something we need to put on tonight, or is this something once we have a chance to look at it on April 3rd, or are you looking for us to? Does this something that needs to get on tonight's?
It could be on the 3rd.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, this is emergency work that's already happened. We kind of have to pay the bills.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay. We haven't seen it, but Nicole has it, so as long as you guys are comfortable, that's fine.
I'm fine with it.
Nicole, can you just give us the amount again of the total?
Yes. $3,859.31.
Is Rob okay with it?
Good with it.
Then I would make a motion to approve ARPA funding in the amount of $3,859.31 for the water main line break that happened on, I believe it was Upper Church Street. It was a fire line, actually.
It was, on Church and Upper Church,
Yeah.
The intersection.
Second that.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion on it? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. Kelly?
Yes.
Rob?
Yeah.
And Julie is a yes. So the motion carries. And you'll send those to us, Nicole, just so we have that.
Yep, right after the meeting, I'll scan them in and send them over.
Okay.
That's what happened. They're in my packet, so.
Okay. Anything under committee reports?
Sorry, I'm not done.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So I have another, I have in your packet, hopefully you have Comcast Business Service Order Agreement, but it just dawned on us that we could probably use the PEG funding. So we could buy all these phones through the PEG fund instead of having to use ARPA. So I can just disregard that request. And the next and the last is a shower for the for the highway garage. And the total, do you have that in your packet?
Yes.
We
Okay.
do.
Okay, so you'll see the quotes and what the plumber intends to do, and the lowest bid came in at $86.50.
They're asking to not take the $86.50 though. They're asking if they can have PVE provide the services. So it looks like it's for a bigger shower at $110 more. Do we know if that's what they want?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he says in the memo it says if they can use PVE.
Yep, they're looking for $87.60 for a 36 by 36 inch corner neo angle fiberglass shower with a 3-piece surround and door. But it looks
Looks like one didn't show up, and then they did get 2 other quotes.
okay. Yep, $87.60.
Kelly and Rob, any thoughts or questions?
I don't have any. I'm okay with
No.
it.
No. Marty's talked to me about it already, so I guess I understand what he's trying to do.
So what are your thoughts on this? Something we want to entertain tonight or defer till our next meeting, or
What do we have left in that account?
In ARPA,
Yes.
$546,979.
Is that after we just and we just took 3,000
50,000.
and then 50 for the chipper? Is that out of there yet, Nicole? I feel like that's the same number we've been using.
It could be that the chipper isn't out yet. I asked for these numbers. I didn't see them, so I can't answer that. I don't know exactly what's out.
Maybe we should get an updated number on that before we make more decisions. Is that a thought?
yeah, I think that makes sense because it doesn't sound like we're clear on this.
Yeah.
So can we put this? Can we reach out to Marty and just confirm what they're looking for, and just put this on one of our upcoming meetings? Is that okay, Nicole?
Yep, got it.
Okay, sorry. My internet's in and out, so I apologize. I don't always hear what is being said. Anything else under ARPA funding?
No.
Okay. Committee reports?
I'll have those the next time because Tuesday we meet.
Okay, thank you. Miscellaneous correspondence, KP Law price increase. I think that's in our packet. Kelly and Rob, have you had a chance to look at that?
Yep.
Any questions?
I don't have any. I mean, just like everything, it's going up.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, town administrator report.
Yes. So we went over the pre-construction meeting. The equipment for project 2 is out to bid. We'll just stay out there until the notice to proceed from USDA has occurred. RCAP is working on rates. We have a date of April 3rd for a meeting with Lori Stevens. She's putting together a PowerPoint presentation that should correlate with her detailed report, so it's really easy to understand. I asked her if she would be ready by then, and she says, I hope so. So I tentatively set a meeting. I will call her tomorrow to make sure that she will be ready to present on April 3rd. And then we can meet in the office too, because we'll be able to meet here in person. And then I'm still researching those RFPs for oversight. I've sent you a few. I haven't gotten any feedback from any of you yet. So if you could, I've sent you 3. If you could give me some direction and some feedback, that would be great. I attended a meeting with Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll on Friday, March 10th in Deerfield. There were approximately 30 of us. The governor's office announced the creation of Director of Rural Affairs. The intent is to serve as an advocate for rural communities. This is the first time that a staff is dedicated to rural policy. We don't know yet who it will be or where the office will be. But they have dedicated $130,000 for this position, and hopefully we'll have some sort of liaison for rural policy. There was a lot of us from STAM were there. So that's good news, because at least it shed some light on the rural communities in the Commonwealth. The town hall boiler update. All of the walls had to come down in the Board of Selectmen. It's just a Board of Health Conservation Office. The entire wood floor needed to come up in the playgroup room. There was a small amount of mold in Treasurer Collector's office. It's all encapsulated right now, and there's this fan going. It's really disruptive for them, and it's unfortunate, but we're doing the best we can. The subfloor even needed to come up. They had a floating floor, and then a subfloor, and then the hardwood underneath, and even the hardwood may have to come up. It's not ideal, but we're making the best of it, and I'm trying to reassure everyone that, it's temporary, and we'll be back, and it'll be better than ever when it is done. So the Green Community Grant cap I was hoping to do for a boiler, and it's now at $200,000. And the boiler will be approximately $1 million. So I'm looking for other grants and funding sources. I've reached out to BEC and RJ McDonald for repairs in the meantime, or fixes, so it doesn't happen again. Unfortunately, if everybody doesn't know, we had a flood in October, and the day before we were to put our last flooring in, we had walls done, we had ceilings done, we had flooring done. We were going to put our foyer floor in, and then the day before that happened, we had a flood all over again in a different zone that gave worse damage and damaged other places that weren't damaged before. So it's just been quite a nightmare. But we're hopefully by the time everybody comes back in here, it's going to look really nice and more modern, and it's going to be comfortable. So I was informed that the CDBG grant that Where Was the Lead Community Now was rejected for not being in time. They are working with DHC to try to rectify. Friday of last week, DHC stated that they will be considering Summit Road rehab because that part of the application was submitted on time. We met with National Grid on Thursday, March 23rd. As our meeting from the previous week needed to be rescheduled as we had a state of emergency storm that they needed to tend to. We discussed streetlight options for significant savings. Once we have all of the information and options, we'll bring it to you. A lot of it was, so we own the streetlights, but if National Grid owns the streetlights and transfers them over to LED, It'd be more of a savings if we keep them and transfer them to LED. Then we'd need a third party to do the maintenance. So I'm still in the kind of early phases, but it's something that, you know, a lot of towns are doing now, is really changing. That's a big savings, is changing to LED lighting. The town election is April 10th. There are 3 contested races: Board of Selectmen, Board of Health, and School Committee. And then we have our ongoing, which I don't want to bore everybody with unless you want me to, just things that have not been resolved yet that I leave as ongoing, that I'll put up on the website as this report.
So Nicole, one item in your report was the Guardian Energy. Can you speak to that? I think you went, again, my internet's in and out, so I don't know if you hit it or went over it.
I might have. I don't know where it is right now, but Guardian Energy came out, and they were the ones that I requested to give us a quote so I could write a green community grant for a new boiler. And I didn't realize the program has changed since the last time I applied, and now there's a $200,000 cap, which is not even going to cover nearly anything for the boiler. So we pivoted a little bit, and they take, as green community designations are for, is to try to consume less energy. So they look at all of our consumption in all of our buildings and see that the highway, the fire, and us consume the most. So we are potentially going to get all new doors. The fire department will get overhead doors and some insulation, and the highway garage will also get new overhead doors and some heat in some areas that aren't heated, and some insulation, to come up to about $200,000.
Thank you. Kelly or Rob, any questions for Nicole?
I'm good right now. Bill Cole has his
Set.
hand up, Billy.
Okay. Bill?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the report, Nicole. It raised a question I wanted to ask. I remember the CBDG grant. You explained how it hadn't been filed on time, and part of it now you say will be perhaps reconsidered, which is, of course, good news. I think in your latest report, you mentioned that it was going to cover, it was expected to cover many social outreach programs. I guess those are lost for this year. Can you tell us, that's one question, what did we expect to be funded that is not going to be happening now?
So PVPC, Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, along with the Ware Community Development Committee, Department, Division, were applying for these grants. I don't have it in front of me exactly, but there was a parking lot in Ware, Summit Road for us, which included infrastructure, which is water and sewer, and some social services, which was outreach to seniors, outreach to low income, outreach to, there were several different components, which I can absolutely get. I could even possibly attach it to this report that'll be up online on my town administrator reports. So they got some of the social services and Summit Road in on time. It was due by, I don't remember the date exactly, but it was due by midnight, and apparently they were finishing up with the grant by 12:05 a.m. So some of the social and Summit Road got in, the parking lot and Ware, some of the social, and then the administrative costs, which is like $260,000 of this grant, to pay all of the staff, didn't get included. So DHCD said that they will reconsider what did get submitted. So I can't tell you exactly what didn't get submitted. I just know some of the social services didn't, and then also the administrative costs didn't.
Thank you. May I follow up just to ask, so Ware's Community Development Commission, I guess it is, they're the ones that didn't get it in, and they missed out on some of what they expected as well? It's not just Hardwick, is it?
No, exactly. It was Hardwick and Ware. I had asked, how are you going to do your outreach to Hardwick once these social services come through? And they said that they would reach out to me, they would reach out to the senior center, that they would reach out to the pertinent contacts that they needed to once it's funded. So I was going to keep up on that, and I still will. But it's possible that they could have submitted the parking lot project first, and it just happened to be that they submitted Summit Road first. So I don't know how we were lucky to be able to be in the submission on time, but so and I don't know that it was Ware or that it was PVPC. I'm under the impression that it's PVPC who typically writes these grants for the communities.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it was necessarily Ware. I think it was PVPC.
Thank you. And if I may, one last question. You mentioned the green community funding, and tell me if I'm wrong here. I think we didn't have much of that in the past when we had the solar bylaw in place, and now I think you mentioned we're going to be able to get some, perhaps because there is no solar bylaw in place since the moratorium has ended. Is that a consideration as you and the planning board look at the bylaw covering solar?
Actually, it's the opposite. You're only eligible if you do have a solar bylaw. So we were not eligible last fall because we had the moratorium. So we're now eligible because the moratorium has expired. So
I understand that. I meant when we perhaps have a new solar bylaw controlling solar, will we still be eligible for green community funding at that time?
Yes, we will, but you're only eligible for spring or fall, so you can't take advantage of both. So we're doing now in the spring. We'll have to wait until next spring for the next round.
Thank you.
And please feel free to come in anytime. Call me anytime. I'm here. I'm here to answer any of the questions all day. I hear too, but if you have anything that comes up, feel free to give me a call or come in.
Thank you.
Anybody.
Anything else under your report, Nicole?
No, thank you.
So where does the letter that we've received from Fish and Game come into play? Is that something we need to address tonight?
No, that's just basically for your information.
Okay.
No, they're looking for a letter.
Oh, they are. I'm so sorry. They are looking for a letter of support from the town. I'm sorry. Let me just find it because now it's all out of place.
Rob, I'm not sure you've even seen. Rob, did you see it came late?
I did. I read it while we had this meeting going on today. Yeah.
Okay.
So the Fish and Game is considering buying some property located along Turkey Street. It's open space. It's natural condition. I forget. Can you, Kelly, or you probably know this parcel much better than I do.
It's the music camp property.
The music camp. So it's on Hardwick Pond, and they will like to retain it as open space and protect and manage the wildlife resources, provide public access for passive outdoor recreational opportunities, including wildlife observation, hunting, and trapping. They are proposing to pay the remaining real estate taxes for that fiscal year and the full real estate bill in the following fiscal year. I guess after that, they'll be on a pilot program, right?
It comes up the tax roll.
Yeah. So if they're hoping that the selectmen will consider providing a letter of support for purchasing of the property, and then if you authorize it, I can just put it on our letterhead, and that the selectmen support what the Division of Fish and Game want to accomplish.
Kelly and Rob, any thoughts on this?
I'm abstaining.
Okay. So, just for purposes of factual, there's several buildings on this property that are falling down, and really in need of repair. Presuming, so when they're talking about the 90 acres, are they including, do we know if they're including these buildings that are literally ready to fall over?
Yeah, it's the whole property, Julie.
It is, okay. I mean, it's a concern to drive by there and see the buildings in disrepair. Do we know? So it looks like they're clearly delinquent on taxes for the property. Do we know what their plans are? Nicole, do we have any idea? Can we reach out to them and just ask what their plans are for the actual buildings that are on there? Because the buildings are going to need to be addressed. I guess personally I'd like some more information. I'm absolutely willing to support something there because something needs to happen. Well, I guess according to their letter, they're going to be removed.
Yeah.
They're going to take down all the buildings.
Yes, it says scheduled to be removed from the site so the land is suitable for conservation purposes. We just got this today, so I know it says March 1st, but we just got it in the mail today.
I guess so my opinion would be that we would take it under advisement and maybe discuss it on the 3rd or the 10th, unless, Rob, you're ready to make a motion to support this.
I'd actually like some more time to think about what's kind of going on here. We are losing a lot of land off our tax rolls, but the property does need to be cleaned up, and I mean, I'd like to understand what they're going to do with it. That's all.
Yeah, Nicole, can we reach out to them and just have a conversation with them about? I don't think this is any indication of us opposing this. I think we just want to have some more information. Maybe we can have a conversation.
Yes,
I can have a conversation with the land agent who sent us this and just get some particulars on what they're planning on doing. I mean, yes, it's going to come off the tax rolls, but right now the owner is not paying the taxes. So it's really not on the rolls for purposes of our discussion. They're delinquent. There are 2 payments delinquent right now, with a 3rd payment coming up on May 1st. So at some point, the town may ultimately this prop because of tax liens and such. So, can you, Rob, is that okay with you if Nicole reaches out and we have a conversation about specific plans for the property?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So, Nicole, can you arrange that?
Sure, I'll reach out tomorrow and then I'll email you guys.
That'd be great.
We have a couple of hands up, Julie, Eric Fleming and Lauren.
Okay, I can't see them. So, Eric?
Yeah, so you could reach out to Cynthia Henshaw because the land trust, I think, is somewhat involved in that. It might be easier to get a hold of her and get an explanation as opposed to trying to get a hold of Fisheries and Wildlife. And I also would add, and I don't know all the details of this, but when you go back to the solar question, we only put a moratorium on large scale solar fields, not smaller scale. So we still had a solar bylaw in effect during the moratorium. I don't know if that helps us or not, but the fact is we did have a bylaw. We just put a moratorium on large scale.
Thank you, Eric. So Nicole, maybe we can reach out to Cynthia.
Sure. I mean, I have the cell phone number to James McCarthy, who's the land agent from Deficient Fish and Game. So
I'm
I'll
happy to
definitely reach out to
Cynthia. I'll reach out to Cynthia tomorrow and just get that perspective. And if you want to reach out to the land agent and we can compare notes and just get some, perhaps maybe either Cynthia or someone can come and sort of discuss that at our next meeting, or the 3rd or the 10th, whichever one we. And then you said there was another hand,
Lauren.
Lauren.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. So you mentioned that in their proposal, they said that there would be pilot money. Is there any mention of how much that pilot money would be, and could it be negotiated that they offer a certain amount to us?
There's no pilot money.
Oh, there's no pilot money. Okay.
There is. But to put this in perspective, if you look at, we talk about this off the rolls, so you guys have an idea. This looks like this is about $4,000 a year in tax revenue. So, although it's something, it's, we're not talking tens of thousands of dollars, and they are. I think they've historically been so. To put this in perspective, the owner of this property is not even local. I believe they're out of New York or another state. And we're already almost 3 payments behind on this. And so if you think about sort of, it looks like the tax for 2022 and 2023 totals about $4,300. They're potentially behind almost $3,300 of that. And what that equates to is our financial team time following up on this. And if it continues, I think this property has historically had collection issues. So there's sort of when we're thinking about the revenue piece, that this coming off the rolls, there's also a cost to the town for continuously following up on this. But we can get some more information on the next meeting. And if you've driven by there, clearly the property is in significant disrepair. Some of the buildings are held up by boards. Well, can we also have a chat with our building inspector relative to this property as well?
Sure.
Because I'm sure this is on his radar. Okay, so we will put this on either the 3rd or the 10th agenda, depending on what we come up with for information.
Can I just clarify the pilot thing?
Sure.
I mean, I guess I didn't necessarily mean pilot. What happens is the state gives us a certain amount of money from when they take our land, and it comes in on our cherry sheets. It's really low per acre, and certainly not anything that we can negotiate. But we do get a little bit of money when the state takes our land. So no pilot, and it's not negotiable.